This is the first of 3 videos that will help you to write your answer to the comparison between Ozymandias and My Last Duchess. I'm not going to be teaching the poem because hopefully you've already had a look on Seneca, you've already looked at the Mr. Bruff videos, etc. that you've been pointed at looking at, and you've had some lessons in class. This is simply just to show you what you need to pick out to write in your answer. Now, if you are wanting to turn a grade 4 answer into a grade 5, there are 3 main things that you need to look at when you're looking at any poem. What is the story? What's it about? How does this link into the theme of power and conflict? How has he done it? How has the poet created these ideas? And why? What's the point of the poem? Now, I've picked out a number of lines. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you've read the poem, make sure that you've understood what it's all about, and then I'm going to show you the bits that I've picked out. Now, the whole point, the what of the poem, is the fact that there is this man who believes that he has power over the Duchess. He is a man of high rank. He is a man who is a duke. He's got money. He's been married to this woman. He's had a painting made of her, but he actually never had control over her at all. She didn't do what he thought was the correct way for a woman to behave. The how we're going to look at in a moment. Right, why has Robert Browning written this poem? Well, the whole point is that the Duke is not a hero. The Duke thinks that he's powerful. He thinks that she's better than the Duchess, but it's actually her who has found pleasure. She found pleasure in nature. She found pleasure in the company of others. She found pleasure in some cherries that somebody gave to her. She had a much happier life, but he's bound by what he thinks society wants him to do, and he can't stand the thought that the Duchess is smiling, showing a spot of joy for anyone other than him. He gets more and more irate as the poem goes on, and he's so jealous that you can imagine that he's a very bitter man indeed. Right, to start off, if we were having a look at the structure, it is a monologue, so it is just the Duke speaking, and even though he asks questions, will it please you sit and look at her? There are no answers. There are only rhetorical questions. He's not interested in the opinions of anyone else. So Browning has here used a rhetorical question to show that the Duke is talking to himself pretty much. He's having this monologue out loud. He's told somebody to come and look at the picture. And the fact that he's had a portrait painted of her also shows that he just saw it as a thing of beauty to be seen, to be looked at, to be possessed, and not as a person. Okay, and then we move on. So we hear about Frau Pandolf, who has painted this picture. And this is where it begins. His real character assassination of the Duchess, and it's all one, so it's all like a big stream of consciousness. So he stood there and he's having a proper rant. Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. So what makes her smile? First of all, the Browning has said that the Duke blames it on vanity because Frau Pandolf said that her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much, suggesting that she's got pretty wrists. So she's blushed because she's vain. She liked the fact that somebody was complimenting her. I imagine that the Duke didn't compliment her very much at all. She was supposed to be grateful for what she had. Some cherries made her smile. An animal, the white mule she rode around the terrace. The Duke is saying here pretty much that she is foolish. So Browning is putting the words into the Duke's mouth that her spot of joy, her enjoyment in all of these things should not be given out to anybody. Only her husband's presence should make her smile. She should be thoroughly miserable at all times that the Duke is not around. And he goes on to say that he takes this very personally, because as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift. Now, the use of the word ranked, this noun, shows your position in a hierarchy. So, for example, we've got a hierarchy at school. So we've got the principal at the top, and then we've got the deputy principals, etc. The Duke is saying that his name, his surname, where he has married her, is a 900-year-old gift, and that she should be grateful that he has given her his name, that he has married her. And why is she ranking? Why is she saying that that is as important, or even not as important, as some cherries as a mule? The Duke is obsessed with his position in society, and he's saying that his dukedom, the fact he's made her a duchess, is so important that she shouldn't smile at anybody else. He should be the absolute focus of everything that she's doing. And he goes on to say that some people would say that this sort of behaviour should disgust them or exceeds the mark. He chooses never to stoop. Now, the word stoop is a verb which means to lower your moral standards. So the Duke is refusing to lower his moral standard by allowing his wife to smile at something as harmless as some cherries or riding a mule. He's so controlling that he believes she should only ever be thankful or grateful or happy in his company. And now here we have, then all smiles stopped together. So Browning suggests here that the Duke has potentially had her killed because he doesn't want to be seeing her with these vain, foolish moments of enjoying herself. Now, finally, at the end, we have this link back to the fact that his love of art, that he's had this painting done, and he's also got a bronze. So he's got a bronze statue of Neptune taming a seahorse. This is a powerful god taming an animal. Is this perhaps how he sees himself, as a powerful god taming the Duchess? And because he couldn't tame her, he got rid of her, and he'd much rather have a painting of a woman than an actual woman who would get pleasure from earthly things. So, just to go back, we are looking at, this is a man who has power over a woman. How he's done it? Well, choosing the noun ranked, choosing the verb stoop, the metaphor of the Duke being like Neptune in his mind, the spot of joy, these foolish things that the Duchess likes, but that are actually very important in life, caring for other people and enjoying nature and enjoying life is far more important than being obsessed with rank and your place in society. So Browning's message through this poem is that the Duke is a very shallow man, and while he is obsessed with his role in society, with being the top dog and being much more powerful than the Duchess, he's actually left with nothing, and it was her who had a much more fulfilling life. Okay, now what we're going to do next time, have a look at those things. Next time we're going to look at Ozymandias. We're going to have a look at the comparisons between the two, and we're going to focus in on the question and see how we can answer the question using the text of these two poems.